I always remember having a relationship with God. I prayed a lot, even as a small child. And so, unlike a lot of people I know, there wasn't a pivotal point in my life where I all of a sudden came to Jesus. He was really always there. If you ask most people, is Bruce a Christian? They'd probably say, well, I know he goes to church. I know he says he believes in God, but I also know that he often behaves like he doesn't believe in God. Certainly the most pivotal event was when my wife and I got separated. We were together for, I guess 14 or 15 years, married for 7, 2 children, and went from a great relationship to really hitting the wall and not being able to work through it. And we separated. And at that point, I went into New York City and pretty much went wild for 2 years, partying and dating as many women as I could. And at that point, my wife really became connected closely with God. I think by seeing how poorly I reacted to problems in my life, when life went wrong, when my marriage broke, I chose to not draw closer to God and try to figure out what that was all about. I went the exact opposite direction. I went with the cheapest and easiest earthly pleasures. And I think I just started wanting to be a better person for God, for my family. So I started to take a new, fresh look at what that meant. After about 1.5 years of being separated, we started to go through counseling, and at that point I was not too optimistic, but really by the end of 2 years we had kind of gotten to the point where I think we realized we needed to get over ourselves, that this really wasn't about us. Marriage is difficult if you choose to focus on what you have in common, and I think that's what God calls you to do. He calls you to be very patient with other people. He was insanely patient with us. I mean, we constantly betray him, we constantly fail him, and yet he forgives us and loves us, and I think we're called to do the same in our relationships, and I think that's what we began to do with each other. Some of the greatest times in life are when God throws curveballs at you, because when it's easy, you kind of take it for granted and you roll along, but when you're tripped up a bit and life goes differently than you want it to, you're forced to really reevaluate yourself, and I think when you realize where you are and what you've done, it forces you to get back to God and to look to him for guidance and look to the Bible for guidance, and because we're prone to want to do what's easiest. I think one of the most important things to people who don't know Christ well is that you do not need to prepare yourself to come to the altar, and that's what makes Christianity so unique. God wants you just the way you are. He knows you're imperfect. You do not need to make yourself better to come to him and ask him to come into your life. He loves that we're imperfect. He loves us in our imperfect state. I mean, he died for us knowing we're imperfect. Anyone who's going through challenges in their life and is going through whatever it may be, difficult periods where they're going through addictions or their life is just in turmoil, that's the perfect time to turn to God. You just at some point you will realize you can't do this alone. Some people learn it very late. Hopefully you can learn it earlier, because you need God in your life. I mean, we don't have the strength to go this alone. And I think when you start to give it over to God, which is a challenge as a man, because we believe ourselves to be strong. We want to be strong. We want to be independent. But at a certain point, when you keep making the same mistakes and keep failing, and you start to get down about that, I think that's when you really open up to realize, that there's more to this. And that's when I think it's a good time to go seek out our Maker.